Hi, I'm Sudh, CEO of impress.ai. In this video series, I'll be answering some of the most common questions we hear about the use of chatbots in recruitment. Today, I'll be answering a very important question, which is not necessarily related to recruiting chatbots, but should form the basis of any recruiting process. How do you accurately identify quality candidates? There are four key steps to accurately identifying quality candidates. Let's take a look. The first is to define quality. Quality of candidates can be defined only in relation to a particular job or job family. It is most useful to define it in terms of the skills, including soft skills and hard skills, and the knowledge needed to perform well on the job. However, those are not the only factors that matter. Personality characteristics in relation to the job also matter. Some of these tend to capture the attitude and motivation to take the job. Ability, for example, cognitive, mathematical, or learning, can be important for many jobs as well. Large organizations typically invest in job analysis and validation studies to define what quality means for each job family. However, that can be an expensive and time consuming exercise. If you don't have access to the results of such a study, then it is best to start with existing frameworks available from resources like onetonline.org or country-wise equivalents of that. Governments in many countries commission studies and skill frameworks that can be a very useful resource for organizations to base their definition of quality on. The next is to define methods to accurately identify quality. There are multiple ways to identify quality once it has been defined. The first is assessments. There is a large variety of assessments available on the market. These include cognitive assessments, knowledge assessments, personality, work sample, and case study. You can even create your own assessments for knowledge, work sample, and case study style of assessments if you can afford to spend the time and effort. For cognitive and personality assessments, it is best to stick to validated specialist assessments available on the market. The second is structured interviews. According to estimates, most interviews conducted in the world are unstructured. Defining a clear set of questions to ask and what you're looking for in the answers goes a long way. The STAR technique is particularly useful once you have defined the questions and a set of acceptable answers. STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. It allows you to probe the candidate's answers during an interview and extract useful information. Interviews can be behavioral or situational. Behavioral interviews mostly focus on actual events in the candidate's career. Situational interviews focus on hypothetical situations that may happen on the actual job in an attempt to understand the candidate's reaction. Experience and qualifications can be both considered as proxies for skills and knowledge, but are not by themselves enough. That's where behavioral interviews can help you understand how well the candidate did in their previous experience. When the candidate does not have relevant experience of qualifications, on the other hand, assessments and situational judgment interviews can be particularly useful. Lastly, reference checks are an important check and balance and are necessary as a step in an accurate hiring process. The next step is to implement a process that anyone involved in the hiring process can follow consistently. It is also critical to remove any sources of unconscious bias, otherwise, the process just doesn't work. The best way to do this is through training. Share the importance of a metrics-based, systematic approach with your recruiters and hiring managers. A typical hiring process includes sourcing, screening, assessments, interviews, offer, and negotiation stages. Increasingly, selling the candidates on the organization is very important as well. When defining the process, all these steps need to be defined clearly. After defining the process, we must solve for how it will be executed. Implementing a system that delivers a good and inclusive experience for candidates and recruiters is the way to do that. This system should make it easy to follow the hiring process for everyone involved. If sufficient attention is not paid to the experience of using the system, it will not be used. Candidates will drop off from the process and recruiters will avoid using it. That would defeat the entire purpose of this approach. The system should also be inclusive and accessible to persons with special needs. In summary, the four key steps to accurately identify quality candidates. First, define quality, define methods to identify quality, implement a process and remove bias, deliver a good experience using the right software application. That's all for today. Hope that was helpful. See you again next time.